book about how I got caught cheating on 9/11.
Right.
And I read some of what Robert wrote in the book, and the book is fantastic. Anyway, all right, we've been joined on stage by Paul Mecurio, who is he came late because you had a recital for your son.
My son
What does he play?
He plays the viola. And
really?
Yeah, he gets late a lot playing that.
Why not the violin?
Because it was he liked the viola. It was bigger. Because it's like, I don't know, it's not that much bigger, but it's bigger.
Right.
And so
Size does matter.
And its size does matter. That's what the women say. And my wife wants him to be in the orchestra or the chorus. That was like her thing. And he doesn't really want to do either, but he didn't want to sing, so he's playing the thing.
Because, the viola gets the boring parts in the orchestra. That's
he had a big thing at the end where he had to really work that bow at the end of one of these songs. Like, I don't know. I'm not musical, but like he...
But he chose the viola? This was his
Well, he had to choose something. The cello was too big. He wanted to play the trumpet when not in a New York apartment. You're not going to practice that thing because they suck too at it,
Right.
So it's like an animal in heat.
You live upstate. You live in an apartment in the city?
Yeah, I live in the city. I live in Manhattan.
Where do you live?
I live on 87th Street.
I thought you lived
No, I grew up in Rhode
in a
Island.
house upstate or something.
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
wish.
All right.
So my son had the recital and I had to go, and I actually missed 20 minutes of it because the Daily Show taped late.
How racist is the Daily Show?
Oh, yes.
Well,
Hey!
Well, John's.
It's relevant, isn't it?
Right. John doesn't like anybody. No. I don't think
we
it's
know John.
No, you love John.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I think it bends over backwards to be pretty politically correct, although it's very left leaning, obviously. So there's no attempt to hide that. I think sometimes maybe people think that we're too left, but that's John's politics.
You definitely are too left. Definitely too left.
What's funny about Colbert
There's
is
nothing right about it.
people, but usually the one in power gets it the most, and that's Obama. But with this, there's nothing going on the Democratic side right now with the presidential campaign, and it's, you have these guys up on stage, 7 or 8 of them, just giving you, all sorts of fodder. It's like, how do you not go after them?
All right, Paul is noteworthy for a few things, and you got to tell me if I can't talk about things. I'm trying to talk about things that interest me.
Yeah.
The first thing is that Paul has a piece of broadcasting history.
Oh, Jesus.
Because Paul
You said you were going to wait.
You're leading the witness, counsel.
Yeah, why are you leading him?
Paul is the one responsible.
Wait. See, just the way if I know where you're going, the way you're already phrasing it, you're nailing me to the cross, and I wasn't the only one.
I will give you a chance to respond.
See, but that's the misconception right there, but go ahead.
Paul is the one. Actually, I have it right here from Opepedia.
Oh, God, yeah,
says,
they wrote this. Oh, you guys are so bad. I didn't know I was going to be roasted on this.
Is this something I can't talk about?
No, you can.
Okay, then shut
I'm
up.
perfectly happy to talk.
It says Paul Mecurio. This is from Wikipedia. Opepedia. Paul Mecurio is a former friend of the Opie and Anthony show, who is largely responsible for the boys getting kicked off the air in 2002.
Right.
He was acting as a spotter for a couple from Virginia who had sex in St. Patrick's Cathedral. It was the holy day of obligation of the Catholic Church, so there were more people than usual in the church. It resulting in Opie and Anthony getting pulled from the air 2 days later. Paul has not been on O&A have not had Paul back on their show since they returned to radio in 2004.
That sounds like it was written by a fan.
Well, this is I'm just this is the internet. This is the day into the internet. So tell us, that's an amazing story.
Yeah,
that's a famous.
You want me
story.
to tell you everything that happened from the beginning?
Just the interesting parts.
All right. So I went on the show to promote some shows I was doing, and they were doing this contest called Sex for Sam, which was sponsored by Sam Adams. Right. And I'm glad we're talking about this because it's never really been sort of fully discussed. And my issue with this has always been that there's too much blame placed on one party, particularly me, and not enough spread around. Because it's not like I created the contest and walked in and said, hey, let's go do this. Third year it was running, and they basically, they basically were sponsored by Sam Adams. President Sam Adams was in the studio. There was a woman. Can I swear?
Yeah, swear.
Yeah, of course.
Blowing her boyfriend in the studio, and they were taping it with the general manager.
What the hell is the matter with you?
You said I could say.
It's not on Disney, really.
So I'm giving you the backstory so you understand. This is a real loose situation, and it was organized by them. And basically the deal was
the
that
president of Sam Adams was there while somebody was
Jim
getting
Cook.
blown.
That guy's the biggest hypocrite on the face of the earth.
Okay, go ahead.
Because he ran for the hills when the shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
And so basically, what ended up happening was, it was sanctioned by and in defense of Opie and Anthony. this was sanctioned by the radio station. You know, they knew it was happening, and they had done it 2 years previous, and everybody was cool. And so basically, they said, you want to be one of the spotters. There were basically like 6 couples, and it was Rich Voss and a few other people. You go with a phone, and you're supposed to go around, and for points, you have sex in public. Now, they sort of had sex. Sometimes they didn't. Sometimes they would grind. Who knew exactly? You weren't, like, in your face. It wasn't in the thing, whatever. So, long story short, we're out there.
Too late for that,
and we're doing the thing. And we're doing the thing. If this is getting boring, I'll stop. No. We're doing the contest, and everybody's calling in and doing it. And you'd be like, yeah, I'm in front of Carnegie Deli, and we're having sex. Okay, that's worth 10 points. And we're in Central Park, and that's 20 points.
I read they got extra points for a balloon knot. Is that right?
Yeah, all this different stuff. Yeah.
What's a balloon knot?
Balloon knot is when your penis is in the woman's anus or from behind, and then your balls are hanging down, in a sense, creating the knot as your balls. Sorry, Estee. Enjoy that wine. I don't know what you asked me to describe. So
that was extra points.
Yeah, you got all that stuff. Okay. So here's the core of what happened.
Yeah.
I see a church. Church is on the list. Mm-hmm. Church is like 70 points. It's very high on the list, right? And Joe's good friends with these guys and hangs out with Anthony.
Try to get Joe to co-sign whatever you're saying.
No, Joe can agree or disagree. I don't know how much he knows about it.
I still get to go on the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how much he knows about it. But Opie and Anthony are cool guys, and we get along fine. And they know this is how it went down. So I'm not saying anything that's not true.
Is there anything that was more points than a church?
What's that?
I'd say
I think it was in front of a cop. In front of a cop and a church were like the biggest points.
Okay.
So there's a cop at the corner of 55th and Madison is a church, and outside the church is standing a cop. So we go on the side of the church on the sidewalk, and they do it, right? Okay, whatever. Like, it's not like they get naked. They kind of, whatever.
On the sidewalk?
Yeah, on the sidewalk on the side of the church. So I call up on the air, and I say to them, where are you? The church is in front of a cop. And Anthony says to me, wait a minute.
Sounds like you were trying to pull the wool. I implied that you were in the church. You're really just in front of the church.
Yeah, exactly. And they called me on, well, they called me on it. Okay,
but you were
great.
cheating.
No, I wasn't cheating.
I saw right
it said church. Shut up. See, this is what happens. This is what happens. You get caught up in this 12-year-old stuff like,
there's a big difference between getting somebody to have sex in a church and having sex on the sidewalk outside the church.
All right.
Yeah,
right. Well, they caught me.
Oh, that's so mercurial.
Okay. All right. So I said, okay, but it was vague on the thing. It said church. It didn't say in the church. It said church in the points. So I thought next to a church in front of a cop was pretty ballsy.
Meaning is. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. All right. So Anthony says, oh, no, you got to go in the church to get the points. I go, you want me to go in the church? And they go, yeah, you got to go in the church. That's on the air check. So I'm like, okay, it's your show. If you want me to go into church and do it, I'll go. Hang up. I try to get in that church. That church is locked up. They're closed. So we walk down the street, and I see another church, St. Pat's Cathedral. I'm like, oh, that's a good church. That'll work. Why not? Right? It's open. Right? It's big. So we go in the church. Now, this is where I used bad judgment, because at this point,
this is where you used bad judgment.
We should have started the story here, because this is where it's interesting. Go ahead.
No, I mean, up to this point, it was sort of a harmless thing that they had done for 2 years, and nobody got arrested, and everything was fine. And I even asked in the pre-production meeting, has anybody ever got arrested for this? They go, nah, the cops are friends. Don't worry about it. Okay. So I should have just said, no, I'm not going in the church. But I'll be honest with you, I turned into like a needy 12-year-old who wanted to, impress the guys that run the show and being good with the guys and staying good with the guys. So I went in. And that was my mistake. I shouldn't have gone in. I just should have said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. That crosses the line. But I wasn't ballsy enough or mature.
You're a Catholic, right?
Yeah, I know, but I'm not that. That stuff doesn't matter to me.
Clearly.
Clearly not that.
So we go into the church and we go way in the back. Now some people have it like, oh, we were on the main altar and they were naked and fires were lit and there was an elephant and we were.
I think the actual quote from one of the papers was pew rocking.
Yeah, right? There was no. It was. We found. I wish. We found in the back of the church, way in the back, there was like a doorway, but the door was locked. But they had like an overhang and it was dark, and they kind of went there.
The narthex, where they do baptisms?
I don't know, or sacrifice children. I don't know. They basically are, and they're kind of grinding. Their clothes are on. They weren't naked, and they're grinding. And a security guard comes over and says, "You can't do that. You got to get out of here." So we leave.
Wait,
and
are they grinding or having sex? My understanding of the word grinding means no penetration.
Well, my face wasn't in his crotch. I don't know if his penis was in her vagina, but like they were, I think it was out. I think it was, I don't,
Okay.
So, it wasn't like I had to have photos.
It's not the point.
Yeah, well, it's right.
Unless Paul can get away with making him think that it was, so he could get the points of cheating.
Well, I didn't know that this is going to be a roast.
Go ahead.
So basically,
the same thing. Feels like a roast, doesn't it? Yeah.
I like, we'll do the podcast. It'll be a nice conversation. Okay, now we're going to open up a 9-year-old wound.
I asked you, do you want to talk about, you actually said it's good to talk about this because you want to get the story out.
Okay, the story's out. So I'm not saying anything. Okay, I'm not saying anything that nobody.
You had full opportunity to retract it, to not talk about it.
If I had said no, you would have hung me like by the arm.
I would have ridiculed you, but I would have moved on. Go ahead.
Right. So anyway, basically we go to leave the church, and the cops stop us as we're leaving, and the cop says, look,
did you get in trouble with one of the priests or one of the security guards first?
Well, we got in an argument because they wanted to throw us out.
Well, hold on, Paul, because I think I happen to have
he's got all the stuff. Oh,
God. The audio.
You're doing to me what John did to Jim Kramer on our show.
Hold on.
All right, we'll go. Who's coming right in? I can't even use the restroom. Listen, he just needs to use the restroom. Don't be so, what are you being so difficult for?
Oh, my God.
This is a sacrilegious place. He would never do anything like that.
This place, sacrilegious.
It's a Catholic church.
Hey, listen, you want to be arrested? You'll be quiet, all right?
No, I'm not going to be quiet. I have a right to say whatever I want to say. Just because you have a blue jacket on with a patch on doesn't mean you have authority over me.
You know that
when they give you a walkie-talkie, that doesn't mean you take away my constitutional rights.
Any lack of judgment yet in this?
Coming on this point.
Well, no, I had to defend what they were doing. I wasn't going to go, they were having sex in your church. I had to come up with something.
But it gets better.
We're going to go, all right? We can do whatever we want. We walked out. No harm, no foul.
Okay, now can you pause it for a minute? Pause it for a minute. And this is if you want to play this and you want to play this, you got to deal with both sides of the sword. You hear them giggling in the background?
Absolutely. I think you're right.
Stop. Let me say what I want to say because this is really important. You hear them giggling in the background. It is their show. They have their finger on the button. They can stop this any time they want. And they didn't. Do you want to know why?
Because they thought it was funny.
Not only did they think it was funny, this contest was designed for exactly what they wanted. They want shock radio. That's what they got. They were loving it. Now, I'm not saying it's all their fault. Just let me finish. This is where everybody's culpable. The radio station, the guys that are on the show, the management, the president of Sam Adams, and Paul Mecurio. It's not just me.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
It's not just me.
Hold on. First of all, I actually find this subject interesting. I didn't just bring it up because I'm trying to put you on the spot.
I know, I'm fine.
It's something that happened and nobody talked about it, and I've never heard the explanation. And it seems that you're right. They were listening to it. They were laughing about it. They were encouraging it. So why do you think that you did anything wrong?
I don't think I did anything wrong. I think I think I was part of the problem, but not the entire problem.
Why are you part of the problem?
Because I should have said no going. I told you I should have used better judgment in certain places. But the problem that arose was that the emperor has no clothes. When you're let me finish. When you're a huge fan of stars like Opie and Anthony, no, the fans are never going to say they were wrong. They're going to say little no-name Paul Mecurio was wrong, and they put it on me.
Juicy lips, they call it.
Juicy lips. Yeah. Now, in defense of Opie and Anthony, they have never publicly said it was all Paul Mercurio's fault. It always came from the fans. Opie and Anthony and I, as far as I'm concerned, are fine. I think they got screwed, and I felt terrible about their show getting canceled, and I was part of the reason that happened, and I regret that for the rest of my life. I'm glad they got back on the air. I think the station screwed them over and ran for the hills, and nobody defended them. I was in jail for a night, and the station didn't send anybody.
That's because
the station. No. But you got to let me tell you the whole story. Like what ended up happening was when the shit hit the fan on a contest that existed for 3 years and was sanctioned by everybody, including the general manager of the station, who was in the studio when the girl was blowing the guy. Everybody went like this, and what I'm doing on camera, people, you can't hear me see this. Is I'm pointing into off microphone is pointing in different. Everybody ran for the hills to cover their own ass. I was in jail for 24 hours, and the station did, and the couple.
Did you get any points?
And the couple, by the way, came from West Virginia.
How many points for getting
and
fucked in jail?
they had nobody to defend them. There were these two hicks, and we were in a cell, and the that guy was a methadone recovering addict and on methadone. They wouldn't give him his methadone. They sent him to the hospital. I had to go to the station the next day and say, "What are you guys doing?" They go, "What do you mean?" I go, "You let us sit in jail overnight and didn't send a lawyer. You're like the biggest radio station in the country. You're a..." I go, "Look," I go, "this is how this is going to play out." Because I had a bunch of phone calls from press from all over the country. I said, "If you guys don't get me a lawyer and get this couple of lawyers and defend us, I'm going to start telling everybody what I know, including the fact that people were getting blown in the studio while President Sam Adams was there." I said, "But you can't do this. You're being despicable. This is your contest. Okay. You asked us to be part of it. Now I'm partly responsible." So there was a lot of he's